What could possibly make a grown man dress up as Batman and scale, I don't remember what it was, Buckingham Palace? The frustration with the court system and how guys, quite frankly, honestly, America are screwed in the court system when it comes to child custody. Now, the audio tape that came out with Alec Baldwin being a pig himself, talking to his 11 or 12-year-old girl, was shocking in and of itself. And I don't want to make him sound like he was the good guy, but I got to tell you, it has shown the frustration of some fathers of getting screwed in our court system when it comes to custody. And I wanted to bring a couple of people on. Wendy Murphy, she's a former prosecutor and law professor at New England School of Law, and Michael McCormick. He is the executive director of the American Coalition for Fathers and Children. First of all, Michael, let me start with you. Even guys like Alec Baldwin, who I think, you know, there's something up with Baldwin, but even guys like that, you don't have to be like Alec Baldwin to get a raw deal in the court system, do you, when it comes to custody?
No, what we're seeing in custody situations today around the country is that about 85% of the time, mothers end up with either custody of the children or primary residency of the children.
Okay. And Wendy, you say, oh, that's hogwash.
No, I'm not sure it's hogwash that mothers do get a disproportionate amount of visitation and custody, but that's because they're primary caregivers, you know. And another argument I might be saying, and that's sexist, and it's all about tying women down to the house, and let's not do that to them. But I do think disproportionately the people who suffer the most in our family courts are, no surprise here, those with the least wealth and least power and least influence, and that tends to be the women and children, not the guys.
You know what? Well, actually, I think the people who suffer the most in the family courts today are the children.
I just said that.
Yeah.
Well, you're saying the ones with the least power and money. Let me say this, and Michael, correct me if I'm wrong, and Wendy, help me out here. Help me understand the other side. I was in a situation, I'm a divorce guy. I had 2 children. I now have 4. I would love to have had full-time custody of my children and had the situation reversed. I knew that I would have to take my ex to court to be able to have that happen, and there was no way I was going to do that, because when you're in a court system, to be a guy and get the children, you have to prove that the woman shouldn't have those children. And there was no way, A, I could have said that, and B, come on, Wendy.
No, that's not true. Actually, no, in most states, the presumption is both parents come to the table presumed equally capable, but the one who usually wins is the one who has a history of being home with the child. That tends not to be a guy like you, Glenn. That's not prejudice against you. That means we want kids to have a parent around with whom they've had their pre-existing, you know, lifestyle and common experience.
Mike?
Well, I can categorically say to you that if fathers understood that if they were to go into court and they had been out being the primary breadwinner and those types of things, they would change if they knew that situation would cost them their children in a divorce situation. And what we're talking about here is really essentially a systemic problem with the way the courts handle these child custody issues. There's no reason why a parent's divorce, particularly given the fact that our society, marriages don't last in our society today, there's no reason that a divorce should mean the end of a relationship between a parent and their children.
I agree with that. I think that's absolutely right. But you know what? The problem is what I'm seeing, and this is different from Michael's experience, I do see guys sometimes get the shaft. I've seen it personally. People I know, men, good fathers, getting the shaft. It does happen. But I also see children who've been abused sexually by their fathers being placed in custodial situations with the abusers, and mothers being punished for reporting the abuse. That's very unacceptable.
You know what? I wouldn't actually take issue with that at all. I think that's unacceptable. I think we have to protect children. I would say that that situation goes in both directions. And if you actually look at the statistics with respect to neglect in our society today of children, that is more of a female than a male issue. But what we're talking about here is, let's not make the rules for everyone by the exceptions. Most children in our society today are not sexually abused. Most children in our society today are not abused. And we shouldn't deny good parents a relationship with their children just because we're making these policies by exception.
I have to tell you guys, let me tell the producer gods, we should do an hour on this, because every time I talk about this topic on radio, my phones are jammed for a week. We'll get mail for 2 weeks just based on this. Guys, are getting the shaft. You have to sell your ex down the river to be able to have a shot of getting your kids, and it's just not right. Decent
Glenn,
guys won't do it.
Come on, that's not true.
It is true, Wendy.
Can I just send your audience, by the way, to an important website? I'm affiliated with an organization. It's called leadershipcouncil.org. Lots of good scientific data there on this issue.
Okay.
Well, let's...
Wait, guys, I got a break. I've got a break. Thanks. We'll have you back on this topic. Wendy, Michael, thanks.